Hey there, folks. John Oliver here, ready to tackle a topic most people avoid like the plague project management. Just kidding. Sort of. But seriously, today we're diving into the wild world of results-based monitoring and evaluation, or RBM&E for those who love a good acronym. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, this sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry, but trust me, this stuff is important. Think of RBM&E as the GPS of project management. It helps you navigate from point A, your project start, to point B, your desired outcome, without getting lost in a maze of spreadsheets and jargon. RBM&E is all about setting clear goals and then, get this, actually figuring out if you're achieving them. Shocking, right? It's like actually checking if your cake is baked through instead of just hoping for the best. So buckle up as we break down this RBM&E thing and why it might just be the secret sauce your projects have been missing. Get ready for some informative fun. Imagine this, you're going on a road trip. You wouldn't just start driving aimlessly, would you? Let's assume you have a destination in mind. RBM&E is like planning your route and packing your snacks. It makes you think about the results you want to achieve. Ask yourself, what's the point of all this effort? RBM&E keeps your eyes on the prize, the desired results. Remember, it's not just about the journey, it's about reaching your destination. Remember that evil queen in Snow White who was obsessed with her reflection? Well, in the world of RBM&E, data is our magic mirror. It tells us the truth, even if it's not always what we want to hear. RBM&E is all about collecting and analyzing data to track progress, identify challenges, and make informed decisions. Think of it as your project's personal performance review, except instead of awkward conversations with your boss, you get cold, hard facts. This data can come from various sources, surveys, interviews, reports, you name it. The important thing is that it's relevant, reliable, and helps you answer the all-important question. Are we on track to achieve our goals? By regularly reviewing this data, you can identify potential roadblocks early on and make necessary adjustments to your project plan. It's like having a crystal ball, but instead of vague predictions, you get actionable insights. So embrace your inner data nerd and remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to managing projects effectively. Let's be honest, nobody likes being held accountable when things go wrong, but here's the thing. Accountability isn't about pointing fingers or assigning blame, it's about taking ownership of your actions and being responsible for the outcomes. RBM&E promotes accountability by clearly defining roles and responsibilities, setting measurable targets, and regularly monitoring progress. It's like having a project contract that everyone agrees on up front, so there's no confusion or finger-pointing later on. This might sound a bit bureaucratic, but trust me, it saves a lot of headaches in the long run. When everyone knows what's expected of them and how their work contributes to the overall goals, it creates a culture of transparency and ownership. So ditch the blame game and embrace accountability. It's not about punishment, it's about creating a more efficient and effective way of working together. Section 5, learning from mistakes, more like learning from data. We all make mistakes, it's part of being human. But what separates the amateurs from the pros is the ability to learn from those mistakes and do better next time. RBM&E isn't just about celebrating successes, it's also about embracing failures as opportunities for growth. By regularly evaluating your projects and analyzing what worked and what didn't, you can identify areas for improvement and make necessary adjustments to your approach. This continuous learning process is essential for any organization that wants to stay ahead of the curve and deliver successful projects consistently. It's about creating a culture of reflection and improvement, where everyone is encouraged to share their insights and contribute to a better way of working. So don't be afraid to embrace your inner student. RBM&E provides the tools and framework you need to turn every project, successful or not, into a valuable learning experience. Section 6. Stretching your resources further than a yoga instructor. Let's face it, resources are precious. Whether it's time, money, or manpower, we never seem to have enough of it. That's where RBM and E comes in, like a financial advisor for your projects. By focusing on results and using data to track progress, RBM and E helps you optimize resource allocation and avoid wasteful spending. It's like trimming the fat from your budget and making sure every dollar is working towards achieving your goals. This might involve making tough decisions, like reallocating resources from underperforming activities to more promising ones. But remember, it's not about cutting corners. It's about being strategic and making the most of what you have. So channel your inner penny pincher and embrace RBM and E as your resource management guru. It's time to make those resources work as hard as you do. Section 7. Keeping everyone in the loop without losing your mind. Communication is key. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but it's especially true in project management. When everyone is on the same page and working towards a common goal, magic happens. Or at least projects get completed on time and within budget, which is basically the same thing. RBM and E emphasizes stakeholder engagement and transparent communication throughout the project lifecycle. This means keeping everyone informed about progress, challenges, and any changes to the plan. It's like having a family meeting, but instead of arguing about whose turn it is to do the dishes, you're discussing project milestones and risk assessments. By fostering open communication and collaboration, RBM and E helps build trust and buy-in from all stakeholders, from the project team to senior management. And when everyone feels heard and valued, they're more likely to be invested in the project's success. So ditch the one-sided emails and embrace a more collaborative approach to communication. RBM and E provides the framework for keeping everyone in the loop without turning into a human spam folder. So there you have it. RBM and E might sound like a mouthful, but it's really just a fancy way of saying let's be smart about how we manage projects. By focusing on results, using data to guide decisions, and promoting accountability and communication, RBM and E provides a roadmap for achieving project success. It's not a magic bullet, of course. Implementing RBM and E takes time, effort, and a willingness to embrace change. But the benefits far outweigh the challenges. So next time you're tasked with managing a project, remember RBM and E. It might just be the secret weapon you need to navigate the choppy waters of project management and emerge victorious on the other side. Now, before you rush off and start plastering RBM and E on all your project charters, let's address the elephant in the room. Implementing RBM and E isn't always a walk in the park. One of the biggest hurdles is resistance to change. People get comfortable with their old ways of doing things, even if they're not particularly effective. Introducing a new framework like RBM and E can feel disruptive, especially if it requires people to learn new skills or change their work habits. Another challenge is the perceived complexity of RBM and E. While the core principles are relatively straightforward, putting them into practice can feel overwhelming, especially for teams who are new to the approach. Then there's the data issue. RBM and E relies heavily on data collection and analysis, which can be time-consuming and resource-intensive. Without the right tools and systems in place, it's easy to get bogged down in spreadsheets and lose sight of the bigger picture. But don't despair. These challenges are not insurmountable. With careful planning, clear communication, and a healthy dose of patience, you can overcome these obstacles and reap the many benefits of RBM and E. Let's take a look at how RBM and E works in the real world. Imagine a non-profit organization working to improve literacy rates in a developing country. They decide to implement an RBM and E approach for their new after-school reading program. First, they define their desired outcome, to increase reading comprehension by 20% within 1 year. They develop measurable indicators to track progress, like books read and test results. Throughout the year, they collect and analyze data. They also conduct surveys and focus groups for qualitative feedback. Based on data, they identify areas for improvement. By the end of the year, they achieve their target of a 20% increase. This is one example of how RBM and E achieves tangible results. As we look to the future, technology will play an increasingly important role in RBM and E. From data analytics to project management software, new technologies streamline the RBM and E process. For example, AI and machine learning analyze data to identify patterns, helping managers make informed decisions. Cloud platforms enable real-time collaboration, improving transparency and speed. Embrace a data-driven approach for a more agile and responsive project management. The future of RBM and E is bright.